Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Safari Mack Explores North America. I'm Safari Mack, your guide and host, helping you make connections to the wild. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we are in the last few weeks of 2024, and I really do hope that last week you enjoyed your time with the Canada goose or Canadian geese. But today we're going to say goodbye to them as well as the city of Homer, and we are going to fly with them for a little bit down to Katmai National Park and Preserve, where here in this part of Alaska is one of the few spots where a big abundance of this special animal reside in. Today, I present to you the American grizzly bear, or known by their Latin name of Ursus arctos horribilis. Now, originally, my plan was to showcase this animal near the end of our time in Alaska, but don't worry, we're not nearing the end. Not just yet. No. I decided, since we're now entering the final stretch of 2024, I thought we should end this year with a bang. So, today, I want you to get yourself prepared and have your bear spray ready in case they charge, because we're going to dive into the secret lives of the grizzly bear. But before we begin, as always, if you're brand new to my channel, I want you to hit that like and subscribe button and share my content with others. Then you can check out my Facebook page where you can see content on conservation that you can put into practice either in your own backyard or to incorporate into your everyday lifestyle. And finally, if you have a question about animals, or if there's an animal that you would like me to do in the future, all you've got to do is just, of course, send me an email, which you will always find my address or link to down in the description below, as well as on my YouTube page. But if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get started with its evolution and its family. Now, for those who have been with me since the beginning of Safari Mack, we've already met 3 other members of the bear family. These include the giant panda, episode 1, the polar bear, which we met earlier this year in March, and then finally, we also met the American black bear during our time down in Yellowstone National Park. So, if you want to hear the full, complete, in a sense, detailed explanation of their evolution on the planet, you should go check out these other videos first, because since we're well acquainted with bears by now, I think it should be self-explanatory. But for those who are new, go check out those episodes first, and then come back here. So here, I would like to explain to you the difference between the American black bear and the grizzly bear, or what is really known as a subspecies of brown bear. So first, let me just scoot him up. And here's a little compare and contrast. Here you can see that the black bear has no hump and has a more straight profile like face, right? While the brown bear, or in our case the grizzly here, has a more dish face profile and is easily recognizable by that huge hump around their shoulder blades. So now, of course, both bears are something that you should not take lightly and always go around with extreme caution. But now, one of the biggest differences, of course, besides their coloration, besides their size, is also by determined exactly how many there are and where they are found. Now, the American grizzly, there are said to actually be a couple of different subspecies. Sadly, 2 of them are no longer with us. These include the Californian bear, which once roamed the state of California and is even featured on California's state flag, but became extinct around the 1920s or so. And then finally, the Mexican grizzly bear, which once roamed the mountainous regions of Mexico. So here, I'd like to show you exactly where you can find brown bears today. The brown bear, you can see it basically throughout all of Alaska, a great portion of Canada, Europe, Russia, and even some parts of Asia. But now, of course, let's get back to Alaska. Now we'll get into their habitat, their lifestyle, and their family life. Now, here I'd like to show you a map just exactly where the brown bear or grizzly bear once roamed. So here you can see they're still occupied in Alaska and all such. But they did, in addition to California and Mexico, they also were basically limited to the Midwestern regions. So, like the Great Plains district, where there was also a subspecies of brown bear that once walked across the land where the bison also ran. But unfortunately, they've been exterminated due to human agriculture and occupation of space. Today's Alaskan bears are found primarily in forests and meadows and even the mountainous regions where these solitary creatures spend much of their day looking for food or foraging. In fact, Katmai National Park and Preserve is one of the best spots in Alaska to find brown bears because of a major element, the rivers, which play host to the migration of the sockeye salmon, one of the bear's favorite fishes to feed on, as they survive throughout the year. Now, as you can tell, they're spending, especially during the midnight sun, they're spending their time eating as much as possible, finding carrion or foraging on vegetation. And of course, during this time, especially for females, they're going to these different food sources to show their cubs exactly where to go for when they reach adult age by around 3 or 4. Basically, mom gives birth to 2 to 3 cubs, sometimes 4, though it's very rare to see all of them survive to adulthood. They will follow mom and learn all the ins and outs of what it means to be a grizzly bear. So, which is, in this case, mom is taking her cubs to this mudflat where she's digging out for buried clams that dug themselves when the tide was going out. So basically it's all about foraging, finding a mate, and showing the offspring exactly what it means to be an adult. Now let's get into their diet. Now, basically, with the exception of the polar bear, most bear species are pretty omnivorous, and of course the grizzly is also omnivorous. But here's an idea of what they'll eat in terms of meat. They are known to hunt and kill moose, elk, caribou, bison, and many other giant big species, which also may include bighorn sheep and other different kinds of ungulates or other herbivore animals. They're also known to be big fish eaters, especially during the time of spawning, and they are also dedicated to looking for vegetation, so leaves, roots, berries, whatever they can find. And also, during the early days of the year, they will often seek out calves of different animals to eat as well. Hey, this is nature. Life, this is also life. Nobody said this is fun or easy. Finally, let's end today's special episode with their influence in human culture. So, before I get into the Native American aspect, here's a really, really funny thing I bet you didn't know about. There's an annual contest to see who the fat bear is. So, during the time of fall, biologists, or people that study animals in nature, they actually will dedicate as they study the different bears in the region, they often compare and contrast exactly who seems to be the more heavier out of all the bears in the area. And then they place a vote, and then the people get to decide for themselves who they think the big fat bear is. So, in addition to that, let's move on from that. In Native American culture, they are incorporated into art, ceremonies, different clan systems, and even their claws are revered as a powerful talisman that protects the one who carries it. Of course, they're also featured in the totem pole and are featured in many different stories, especially origin stories of how they originally came to be. Now, there's one thing that I did not cover so far in this episode. Hibernation. I bet you're probably thinking, it's just when they go to sleep, right? It's actually a little more complicated than that. But what is it? Why do they participate? How does it work? Be sure to find out the answer to these questions and more coming up next as Hibernation, a Safari Mack special. But as always, before next week, this is Safari Mack. I'll see you all out there.